The latest murder had a surprising consequence that would end up changing an aspect of the game. Outside of the speculation of who the latest victim was, talk turned to professions. First, there was talk about Hugo being a barrister, and Matthew mentioned being scared to go up against him at the round table. Harriet was the one to say that if she was a traitor, she wouldn't keep a barrister in the game, a reason that gives insight into why she's keeping her ex-barrister experience a secret. Then talk turned to feeling the same way if there was a detective, and the possibility of there being a secret one. This happened while Amanda was in the room. If only the other players knew. This was the start of how things were gonna unravel. From the previous night, the traitors had to choose between Ben, Reese or Maz from the secret traitors shortlist. In the end, Ben ended up being the next victim. I was wondering why Ben was so worried he was going to be murdered. Well, he had every reason to be. His last words in the game had the possibility of being detrimental to one player's game. The previous night, Ben has said to a few others that if he was eliminated, it was Ross that did it. Ross can't seem to catch a break at the moment. A victim of the traitor's plan to set him up, or the secret traitor who is digging holes for himself. Despite this, Ross handled this better than he did in the previous episode, when his words seemed to be making things worse for him. That honour went to someone else, although unexpectedly. Hugo decided to interrupt Fiona so that he could say something about Ben. There were a couple of things wrong with what he did. Hugo stopped Fiona from talking about what Ben had said before leaving the game. If the plan was to set Ben up, why would you try to interrupt that chain of thought? The next thing was that Hugo was overplaying it too much, that I thought someone was going to think he was acting. Also, where was this moment for Nettie? I don't know why faithfuls keep having a big last declaration that if they are murdered it must be this player. You put yourself up for murder with those words because you've given the traitors an easy scapegoat. Don't do it if you want to survive. Hugo wasn't the only traitor to make a mistake. In providing the information about what Ben had said the previous night, Stephen had inadvertently made those that heard it prime suspects for being a traitor. Jesse, along with Ross, were going with this chain of thought. Jesse and Stephen, along with Fiona, Ellie and James, were in the room with Ben. This was something that Stephen hadn't considered when he relayed that information. A traitor should only use information like that when a bigger subset of players has heard the same thing. It brings too much unnecessary scrutiny, which was starting to make Stephen panic. This mission had a picture theme with a bit of imitation. They were split into two teams. 12 would stay in the castle, while 7 would go with Claudia to the gallery. Those that stayed at the castle would need to find an empty picture frame and reenact the missing picture based on the description on the plaque, then send the photo they've taken to the team at the gallery. Those that went to the gallery would need to find the correct painting based on what the castle team reenacted. Only the 7 going to the gallery would have a chance to win the shield. This ended up being quite comical. Faraz's facial expression while pretending to milk a cow cracked me up. Reese really needed to minimize the amount of times he kept mentioning the shield. His desperation was being noticed by a couple of players. In the end, £5,000 was banked out of a possible £6,000. Adam was the one that ended up finding the painting with the shield. Ross's name was unsurprisingly doing the rounds, but Hugo's name had been picking up steam since breakfast. Harriet was willing to bring up Hugo at the round table, and she was true to her word. This round table had me intrigued because there was a lot of names coming up for discussion. Reese's obsession with the shield was brought up, along with James's scattered approach to naming up to a third of the players as traitors. James even got the unflattering label of being a bad faithful. Though it was brief, the theory that a traitor was in the room with Ben's declaration about Ross was also mentioned. Harriet, with a bit of help from Fiona, led a very good case against Hugo. Harriet was so good and articulate that Hugo ended up providing evidence against himself that helped her argument. One of the accusations against Hugo was that he was so quiet and passive at the previous round table, given his profession as a barrister. I think he and the other traitors are not taking advantage of a golden opportunity. They want to find the secret traitor but aren't outwardly looking. They could use that search to help help by the illusion that they are faithful. By being more active in the traitor hunting process instead of looking passive, there would possibly be less questions. This in turn might have helped Hugo, though he was saying that he didn't want to appear he was dominating things, and his profession might have still ended up being a disadvantage for him. Stephen's vote for Hugo looked like it might have been a panic vote because of his mistake of relaying Ben's last words. At that time I wasn't sure if there would be enough votes, and it would then make for an awkward meeting in the turret. There were a few different names voted for, but Hugo was banished with 10 votes. Though other countries have banished a traitor in the first round table, this is the earliest a traitor has been banished in the UK, with Hugo lasting 2 round tables. Rachel's continuation of voting for Ross has the potential to come back and bite her. She's the only one that voted that way. If the others think Ross is a faithful or he's lower down on their list, it will make her stand out if she's the only one that votes for him again. The other players might start to question Rachel. Also, let's see how long Rachel and Stephen's new pact to not vote for each other lasts. Hugo's words of Amanda playing the game better than him, her stirring things, plus his vote for her might be a problem for Amanda. Like others have said, she will need to prepare to be up for scrutiny at the next roundtable. The traitors had the opportunity to take back control and find out who the secret traitor is. There would be no murder that night, but they needed to make a shortlist of 9 players for murder the following night. The mystery of the family tree picture was kind of solved, as that's where they needed to mark who was on the shortlist. I think it was a little dangerous of Rachel to say in front of Reese that she wanted to give Stephen the heads up on something. Though in their defense, Reese left of his own making, and there seemed to be others standing at the picture after them, but before they went back to mark the players. Despite all the nerves and blatant conversations, Rachel managed to mark the 9 while Stephen was keeping an eye out. The list consisted of Amanda, Faraz, Jack, Jade, James, Maz, Reese, Sam and Stephen. I've been enjoying reading all of your comments, especially those that have mentioned who they think the secret traitor is. I'm really starting to feel like I'm being led astray by the editors. I want to keep believing it's Fiona, but I keep thinking that it's too obvious. Then you have Ellie's comment about watching as a kind of secret traitor, a gold mine of a comment that they probably wouldn't have shown if she was the secret traitor. This is now starting to lead me down the Harriet path. Before this episode, she'd been quietly going about her business with the odd confessional, but if I take into consideration that they're also leading us down the path that the secret traitor is a woman, then I have to look again at the men I had listed. So to summarize where I'm at, I'm totally confused. Can we please take a moment to come to terms with the fact that Rachel said she had been doing a little bit of FBI training before the show? Whether that's helping her is another thing. I'm surprised the secret traitor is going to be revealed this early. I was envisaging the reveal happening around episode 6 or 7. While I'm actually disappointed this will be revealed soon, the quickness of its ending might have been triggered by the fact Hugo was eliminated. Maybe it would have lasted longer if there were still 3 of the green traitors left. One thought came to mind in regards to the secret traitor joining the others in the turret. Just because they will learn the identity of the secret traitor, it doesn't automatically mean the audience will. Surely there was some contingency plan for a quick traitor banishment, or was this always the plan? If it was the plan to reveal them a quarter way into the season, then I think it's a shame. I'm enjoying going round in circles and second guessing myself. Anyway, let's see if we are clued into the secret traitor's identity and if any of our guesses are correct.